Are you getting ready to take the Praxis 5621 Principles of Learning and Teaching Early Childhood exam? Maybe I can help. My name is Bob, and I am a test prep expert with Study.com. In this video, I'll walk you through everything that is on the test, how best to prepare, and my top strategy tips. We'll make sure you are as ready as possible for test day. All right, let's jump in. Praxis 5621 tests whether you have the knowledge, skills, and abilities to teach as an early childhood specialist and whether those qualifications meet national standards. In general, those who have completed or are close to completing an undergraduate program in the field are best suited to take this praxis. Examinees with previous knowledge of pedagogy, human development, and learning processes generally do well on this test. Praxis 5621 test takers are given 2 hours to complete 70 multiple choice questions and 4 essay questions. The exam includes questions that cover the following categories. Students as learners, consisting of 21 questions and taking up 22.5% of the exam. Instructional process, also with 21 questions and 22.5% of the praxis. Assessment at 14 questions and 15% of the exam. Professional development, leadership, and community also at 14 questions and 15%, and analysis of instructional scenarios with 4 questions that's 25% of the exam. Most of the selected response questions will have a single correct answer, but some of these multiple choice questions will have 1 or more correct answers. You can identify these questions by the phrase, "select all that apply." There are also selected response questions that will include elements such as audio or video prompts and click and drag elements. Not all Praxis exams contain constructed response questions, but the Praxis 5621 contains 4 essay prompts, all of which are in the analysis of instructional scenarios category, as opposed to selected response questions, which give you definite answers to choose from. Constructed response questions give you open-ended prompts and space to construct essay or short answer responses. As you might imagine, these questions take much longer to put together, and if you're not careful, you'll end up misallocating time between the selected response and constructed response questions. So my first strategy tip is to outline your constructed response answers before you start writing. Constructing a very brief skeleton will help you avoid writer's block, which can take valuable time. But remember, you don't have a lot of time, so don't spend too much time on outlining. My second strategy tip is related. Skip the shorter selected response questions if they are taking a long time. You can always come back to them later, but you don't want to spend all your time too early. Make sure to answer every question before you turn in your exam. There is no penalty for guessing, and you have a 25% chance of guessing correctly. So now that we have covered the basics, let's dive into some test specifics. Praxis 5621 examines your knowledge and competencies around working as an early childhood specialist. It's the perfect starting point for those who want to begin their careers as professional educators, especially in early education. On a related note, here's my third study tip. If you have any prior formal education or advanced training in reading instruction, be sure to draw upon that knowledge and review your material to prepare for Praxis 5302. The exam draws upon the Interstate Teacher Assessment and Support Consortium and Model Core teaching standards, so you'll need all the advantages you can get. All that said, let's now look at the 5 question categories. Students as learners, the first category, will evaluate your understanding of elementary child development, learning theories, and special needs. You'll be asked about how young students learn, what factors influence their learning, and what educational strategies support their development. The second category, instructional process and content knowledge, will assess your knowledge of instructional planning, strategies, subject knowledge, and theory. Expect to answer questions about lesson formulation, best practices in the classroom, and curriculum selection. In the third category, assessment, the Praxis will analyze your understanding of early elementary assessment principles, practices, and techniques. So you'll be answering questions about assessment strategies, data, tools, and techniques, and how to use this all to promote learning. Professional development, leadership, and community, the fourth section, will test your understanding of professional development, collaboration, ethical and legal responsibilities, and leadership skills. So you'll field questions about professional growth, communication with families and communities, legal and ethical issues in education, and advocacy for students. The fifth category, analysis of instructional scenarios, is the only one that includes long-form questions. This section will present hypothetical teaching situations you'll need to evaluate those scenarios based on principles of effective teaching, student needs, and best educational practices. You'll receive a score of 0, 1, or 2, with 2 being the highest based on how thorough, appropriate, evidence-based, and theoretically sound your answer is. As you prepare for the Praxis, keep in mind my fourth study tip. The exam will contain both questions that apply to all grade levels and questions that only apply to specific grade levels. Ensure that you read each question carefully so you don't get caught off guard and answer for the wrong grade. The Praxis 5621 covers the full range of topics that early educators need to be familiar with, so there's a lot to go over. And maybe it's been a while since you thought about how to come up with curriculum. So what's the best way to prep? The official exam guide, available on praxis.ets.org, has a detailed list of topics on the exam, as well as discussion questions to get started. Look for the Praxis Study Companion, Principles of Learning and Teaching, Early Childhood 5621 PDF document. These questions help you think deeply about the topics and their applications in the classroom and ensure that you know them thoroughly. However, I recommend starting your prep with a full-length practice test. Study.com's test prep course offers multiple so that you can identify where you need to spend most of your study time. Don't worry about your score the first time around. You are just trying to figure out where you need to focus. Study.com will generate a study plan with top priorities for you. If you use other test prep materials, you may need to analyze your practice results manually. Watch lessons to review the topics in your study plan and do practice problems or make flashcards to transfer the material to your long-term memory. And take heed of my last study tip: practice, practice, practice. There is no substitute for working through sample questions that mirror those that you will face on test day. Every practice question that you do is going to help you be that much more prepared. Need a concrete prep recommendation? I highly recommend Study.com's Praxis 5621 Principles of Learning and Teaching Early Childhood Prep course. It covers everything that I just went through, but in a ton more detail. The course, written and vetted by former teachers, also includes short-form videos for every relevant concept and a bank of high-quality practice questions with answer explanations. And what's more, users who complete the course have a 92% pass rate on the test. If this video helped you, check out the other videos in this and other series for more Praxis test prep. And please like this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and hit that notification bell so you'll be the first to know when new teacher test prep content drops. Are there specific tests or questions that you want us to cover? Let us know in the comments. And don't forget to circle back once you have passed your test so that we can all celebrate with you. Good luck.